Hello. Good afternoon, everybody.
Oh,
Hello.
Hi, Carl.
Well, I got it, Jackie.
good.
Looks like we need to wait a few more minutes anyway, huh?
Yes. I will switch from my phone to the computer. The computer was having trouble.
West Hartford Prevention Council, welcome. The meeting will come to order. This is Carl Shields, Chair of the West Hartford Prevention Council. I'd like to welcome you to the virtual January 14th meeting of the council because in-person attendance of public meetings is likely to increase the risk of transmission of COVID-19. This meeting is being conducted in accordance with Governor Lamont's Executive Order number 7B, which permits municipalities to conduct public meetings virtually. Commission members and some town staff are participating by WebEx, and members of the public can access this meeting by calling 1-408-418-9388 and using access code 132-914-7873. Because of the virtual format, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before we begin. These are for all the commission meetings. First, I ask that all participants please mute your devices when you are not speaking. If you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand and I will call on you. If you are participating via audio only, or I do not call on you and the debate is ending, please unmute your phone and let me know so that I can recognize you. Second, pursuant to Executive Order 7B, all speakers must state their name and title each time they speak. Third, because of the difficulty in tallying voice votes on a video conference, I will require that votes be taken by roll call. Fourth, I would like to describe how the hand-raising process will work. Unfortunately, our conference technology does not allow us to identify individual caller by name. So when the public comment portion of the meeting begins, which is near the very end, the moderator will randomly unmute one call in line at a time and ask everyone to state their name one at a time. The voice that we hear will belong to the person whose line is. That person will then be recognized by the moderator and asked to restate their name and provide their street address. We will repeat this process until we have unmuted every phone line. It is very important that you state your name each time you are prompted by the moderator. If the moderator unmutes a phone line and does not hear a voice after the prompt, that phone line will be removed from the conference. I will now call the roll. Howard Deshevsky,
Present.
Kadzo Kangwana,
Present.
Brenda McKeon,
Present.
Jonathan Merritt,
Present.
Nordia Napier,
This is Helen. I spoke to Nordia earlier this afternoon, and she is planning to attend the meeting. So when she arrives, perhaps we could just make a note in the minutes that she's arrived. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Carl Shields. We also have this evening, I believe, 2 new voting members, which is a delight to welcome them. And I'd like to do one at a time. We can start with Mack. Bob, could you introduce yourself? And we're so happy to have you here tonight and welcome you to our little group. And you could maybe tell us a little bit about yourself. That would be very nice to hear.
Great. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate it. Yeah, my name is Bob Mack. I'm a Hartford business owner, part of Mack Plumbing. We've been in business for 60 years. My mom and dad started a business, and I've been a lifelong resident of West Hartford. I've grown up here, lived here all my life, and been part of a few great volunteer organizations, and I'm very excited to be a part of this one. So I thank you for the invitation and the opportunity.
Oh, well, we look forward to working with you, Bob.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. And Patricia Graham.
Hi, everyone. You can call me Patty. That's fine. So my name's Patty Graham. I've been a resident of West Hartford for almost 2.5 years now. And I am a clinician. I work at the Institute of Living, but I've also been very involved in my communities at the state level for prevention, including the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and also NAMI Connecticut as well. So I'm very excited to be part of this group and be part of our community conversations as it relates to prevention.
Great. That's wonderful to hear, Patty. That's an interest of mine also with the suicide prevention. So it's great to have you and welcome. We look forward to working with you. And we also have many ex officio or non-voting board members, as well as I think a couple of students here tonight. Brooks is here. Welcome, Brooks. And I believe Helen Drohan, Melissa Hickey, Tor Fisk. I see Tor is here. Welcome, Tor. Ari Steinberg. We also are supposed to have perhaps 2 new representatives from the police department have been appointed.
This is Helen Rubino Turco. 2 things. I don't see Helen Drohan on the screen. So I think we're missing our representative from the West Hartford Bloomfield Health District. But we do have, just after you took the roll, but before we really got into this, Nordia Napier has joined the meeting. So she's also here. And I believe on the phone we have Nick Sanford from the West Hartford Police Department, who is joining this committee.
Great. Welcome, Nick.
So you didn't call my name, Natalie Delacruz, but I am present also.
Oh, okay. Hi. Yes.
Yep, so we have Natalie Delacruz and Brooks McConnell as student representatives, and Tor Fisk, and I believe also Melissa Hickey from our superintendent's offices, and Astrid Calderon and myself representing the Department of Social Services, as well as your very own council liaison, who is to this committee, is Jackie Zia Edgar, who is one of our social workers, and she's our primary contact for you. Just seeing if there's anybody else.
Chris Dutton, Youth Services Bureau
Oh,
representative.
sorry, Chris Dutton is here. Sorry, Chris. Representing our Youth Service Bureau. And last but not least is our intrepid administrator for social services, Andrea. So she's the one that's been contacting everybody and making sure that you're all signed up for the meetings. But Jackie has been doing a wonderful job making sure that everyone has the information that they need. I do see we have Ari Steinberg also on the phone. And she is representing the Board of Education. So thank you.
Okay.
Carl, before you continue with that, I just wanted to make a note. Again, this is Helen Rubino Turco, Director of Social Services and Leisure Services for the town. And when we're looking for new people to join this group, of course, this is a town council appointed commission. There are people who are voting members, and there are people who are ex officio who participate and engage, but are not eligible to vote or to make motions. So I just wanted to remind for Melissa, Ari, Nick, myself, Astrid, and the two students, we are ex officio, so we're here to participate and support, but not to make motions or to adjourn or anything like that. The second thing is that although this is a council appointed commission, we also receive funding from the state of Connecticut, from the Department of, from DEMAS, from Mental Health and Addiction Services. And it's called Amplify. This is the organization that Astrid works closely with to secure funding for various activities that we do. And as that we're designated, this committee is designated as our local prevention council. So even though you're the West Hartford Prevention Council and we're doing substance abuse prevention as well as wellness, we also want to make sure that as we are able, that we fill the vacancies and fill this commission with the lens of the LPC, the Local Prevention Council, as well. And Astrid and I have worked very hard to find people, and with your help, to fill various categories in that color wheel that the Prevention Council provided, and we're sharing it on the screen with you. And so many of you have seen this wheel before, but you can see that we have actually, I was just checking off categories on mine earlier today. And if we start at the top, of course, we have people from education represented here. We have Board of Education as well as guidance counselors. We have law enforcement here. We have youth here. We have parent representative. We have a businessman represented. We have town government here. We also have people who are involved in healthcare, faith and religious representative. We have someone that is serving youth programs. We have civic volunteers. And the final category is persons with lived experience. And that is not something that we actively seek out, because we've discussed this before as sort of a privacy issue. But many of us wear two hats. So for example, you might see Kadzo being a mental health counselor, but she's also in a leadership position in her faith-based community. So she is part of another group of people that she can take what we're talking about and go to them and kind of, share what this group is doing or what that group is doing and bring it to us and say, well, this is what the faith-based community is doing for these various things. So it's very nice that we can fill multiple parts of our local prevention council wheel with one person, or, but I just wanted you to be aware that as we're going through our topics and as we're making our, we're collecting our efforts and joining together, that this is a very strong group that has broad representation of our community. We would, love to have someone from the media be part of this group, but certainly we are all capable of sharing what we're doing with the media. And so I just wanted to thank everyone for your service, because you're really helping us fulfill not a funding requirement, but also helping really have a robust response and a whole bunch of ears listening to our community and bringing back to make recommendations to the town council. So again, I really appreciate everyone's efforts, and I will now turn it back to Carl with the rest of your agenda. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Helen. I wanted to go on with the approval of the minutes from last November. As you know, we had to cancel the December meeting first because it was the first night of Hanukkah, and the second time because it was another night of Hanukkah. So it just made sense to cancel them. And that is per town policy, by the way. So that was another contributing factor to why we did that. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes for November 12th, 2020?
Hi, Carl. It's Brenda McEwen. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Hey, Brenda Keehan makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Carl, it's Howard. I second the motion.
Howard seconds. So let me go down the list for aye or nay. Nordia?
Aye.
Aye. Jonathan?
Aye.
Earl is an aye. Brenda was an aye. Howard was an aye. Kadzo?
Aye.
And that's it. Okay. Oh, no, we have two new members. Let me remember their names now.
This is Helen Rubino Turco, the director again.
Yep.
In case anyone's listening, I don't think that the two new members, Bob Macka and Patty, should vote on the minutes because they were not at the last meeting.
That makes sense. Yep. Okay. All right, the minutes are approved. Let's go on to the first item on the agenda, which is the Wellness Committee, Community Wellness Coalition, and Community Wellness Assessment. Well, I could tell you a little bit about the Community Wellness Assessment. I completed the application for the MPH student, submitted it to the folks in Town Hall and the Bloomfield Health District, which has a wonderful woman who is an MPH, and she will provide some bit of supervision also, Amy Kraus. And so the form is completed, and Dr. Stacy Brown received that. I have a call into her and haven't heard back about a start date for the MPH student. I'm kind of like stuck on a June bug with this issue because there's only 16 weeks that I had in my highly ambitious schedule to get completed, thinking the middle of May, which is kind of when an MPH student ideally would complete the task and generate a report. I don't know if that's possible, but I'm hopeful that at least the framework for a report would be done, identifying what is undone at least, so that there would be areas to work on moving forward. But we need, I think, at least that. That's sort of it in a nutshell. But there's not much time, I think, and I have some really pretty clear thoughts, and we've done a lot of foundational work, I think, already with many of the in-town organizations within the education department and social services department. So I think that part of it's going to be rather speedy. And also some of the data sources at UConn should be rather fast also. The only other piece about that, well, I'll get to that later.
This is Helen Rubino Turco. Excuse me, Carl, but I just wanted to give Bob and Patty kind of a quick summary of what the idea of a community needs assessment is and why we wanted to do it. A community needs assessment is a way of analyzing the gaps in our community services. And at first it was something also that Carl and Astrid and I had been talking to the town manager about. He wanted to know, are we serving the needs of our community? And certainly, you know, in this group, we can discuss, are we serving the needs of our community in terms of, you know, perceived needs are, you know, access to healthcare, you know, suicide prevention programs, substance abuse, you know, issues. This group also has someone who's very involved with the special needs community. We also have people who represent the community of color, and so really what we were looking to do was to do kind of a wellness assessment rather than a needs assessment. We wanted to focus on the positive. And if you go back and read the minutes of the last couple of meetings, this is something we've been talking about for a while. And so Carl offered to seek out a graduate student from the public health, in the public health area from UConn to help gather the data that we all, various pockets of us have information about food insecurity, about you know, that kind of thing. And so we can help fill in the gaps once we identify what the buckets are. And so that's what we plan to do this spring. And Carl has offered to kind of be the overseer with the official oversight provided by the health department. Is that right, Carl?
Yep, that's a good summary.
Okay, and if anyone else has background information on this, you know, certainly we've done a lot of legwork already, but we need someone to kind of pull it all together, and that was what our plan was.
This is Astrid Calderon, Manager of Social Services. Welcome to the new members, Patty and Bob. Carl, you know, something that I just wanted to share with you, because we are having the same concerns, and the next topic is LPC, and I will talk about that. But the project of the wellness, the assessment, do not have a time frame. We knew that this was going to be a very, very difficult project. We do not have a solid coalition that we can put together before the last meeting of this year. So I will say that it has been a victory that that we're going to have a UConn student from the Department of from the Master Degree of Public Health. That you found all that data already, and it's a matter of, you know, organizing the data. There's additional data that when she is here, we can give her so she can organize and prepare. And but I will say that this is a project that have to continue. And I you know, one of my suggestions is to continue to work, but do not feel the pressure of that we need to finish this before the end of this fiscal year. That will be June 30. That's my comment about that.
Yes, I totally get that. This is going to be a process, and we're taking a snapshot with this student of what the process maybe has been, is now, and needs to be in the future. So, and with maybe some recommendations or ideas about where that may go within the town. But it doesn't end with the student and with the report by any means. That's a beginning in some ways.
Thank you.
Yep. Esther, did you want to talk about the Community Wellness Coalition?
So the local prevention council, it's have a grant that we utilize every year for different activities. We have been, and you remember that we have talked about this multiple times. This time I really wanted to have a deeper conversation about this. We are the commission, as Helen was explaining, and we are also the local prevention council. This is not the same in other communities. In other words, the commission follow or give recommendations to the town. The local prevention council have a freedom, and it's a grassroots organization of confirmation. So therefore, there are activities and stuff that as the local prevention council, we have to do if we accept the grant, which we did, which was for $7,000. That with that grant, we have been doing actions that with the feedback from the group for multiple years, such as providing money for the 2 high schools, for the party at the end of the school year, funding, the banner this year for the Department of Health and the police for the Take Back Day, etc. This year, they changed the instructions. They want to dedicate the $7,000 very specifically for vaping. We only have 5 months to complete all the actions and use all the money. One of them will be a forming of a coalition for this group. It's a training. They want us to be trained to do coalitions. They also want, and Jackie can talk more about that. But we're waiting for the West Hartford Public Schools. We offer a training. It's a very expensive training that we're willing to provide to them for the children. It's about vaping. It's recommended by the Department of Mental Health. So we're waiting to see if that's something that we can put together. My concern is the following. Every month we discuss this type of actions, but the actions haven't been done. And we need to move forward into what is that it's going to happen. If not, we need to consider either returning the money and have a conversation and about being the local prevention council if we don't meet the actions that need to be done. It might be that you guys have questions for me and for Jackie. I do hope that we can put this together. It has been a difficult year. But we need to make a decision from now to before June 30. Jackie, did you want to add more about more specific, what are the options or actions that we have to make?
So I'm Jacqueline Zia Edgar, staff liaison and social worker at West Hartford Social Services. One of the actions that we were thinking about was actually funding a workshop on vaping for students. And the platform that we were considering was West Hartford Public Schools, but we were also looking into the possibility that maybe this workshop would be available in kind of the platform that the West Hartford Public Libraries provide. There's a specific presenter that was suggested and recommended by Amplify. His name is Robert Hankinson Jr. He's from Massachusetts, and he's been doing this since 2004, where he's presented vaping in a very entertaining kind of way, very dynamic speaker for students. And basically he talks about everything. And it's very educational. And I believe there's even a pricing sheet where certain schools, the number of schools, depending on how many would participate, the fee kind of increments from there or gets a little bit higher. But it's something that can be done if it's, approved by the coalition, and accepted in terms of a partnership with West Hartford Public Schools. It can't be something that is funded through the LPC grant. And the $7,141.55, part of that money could be used to provide this workshop for the students.
Is the workshop for middle school or high school students or
So
either?
the way it's presented, he has it divided up where there's a specific presentation for middle school students and then another one for high school.
Okay.
But we can have the hybrid. We can have the presentation be, something that middle school would put the option for middle school presentation, and then the high schoolers would, press the option for the high school presentation.
So who in the school system makes the decisions about training?
I would love to know that. If you remember, Carl, in our last coalition build meeting, I presented the information to Rosina, and she was going to pass it on. I did leave a message for her, before I left today, and I hope to hear from her. But I don't know if there's somebody else that I should be talking to in terms of
The health.
I believe it's Gretchen.
Yes.
Gretchen Nelson is the person who, with Rosina, who make that decision, and she, I believe she's aware. But the idea behind, that I wanted to kind of make sure is that they also had a very difficult year, the school system. So they have to, I don't have to tell you all of this. So it might be that they might not be able, even though they're willing to do this. So the second idea will be through the libraries to see if there's a way that we can put it together. And when we are talking about this type of activity, we need to include other schools that are not only the West Hartford public schools. So this can include all the private schools in town. The idea is that have more inclusion into this. So this is one of the big activities. We need to move forward. Hopefully we can work. Maybe Jackie, you can send an email to everybody in the commission, and so you guys can see it and have an idea of what is this all about. This activity cost about $3,000, roughly. This year they mandated to do other actions. Do you have a question, Natalie?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say that Nick put something in the chat. I know sometimes it doesn't give us a notification, so I just want to make sure everyone saw it.
Yes. He said that he's also doing the substance abuse presentation through the health and wellness, and vaping was one of the topic. Yes, the school have been doing this for a couple of years. It's not the first year, and also other agencies like the Bridge and as well as others have been working around the topic for many years now. So maybe we can send an information by email. The other activity that it's mandated, it's more about education on groups like us. What is that we know or we do not know? They want the leaders to be educated. So there is a workshop. There's a couple of activities. One of them, it's very expensive, but Amplify would like to send one representative from this group to that workshop. We offer the information to Carl. And we can talk about this later, but we wanted to make sure that we use that opportunity for one of us.
Astrid, I had a question. It's Nordia.
Mm-hmm.
Is it only for adolescents, or can this money go towards adults? Because adults have
So Jackie, can you answer that? Because this year they changed the rules and they are very specific.
Correct.
There is a target for the age.
Yes, it's 12 to 18-year-olds. So they specified a reduction of vaping use, and they specified the population and the age as 12 to 18-year-olds. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Helen. I see in the group chat that Melissa also has a lead on someone that wants to engage in some anti-vaping campaigns. Should we have that person contact Jackie? Would that be the best way to do it?
For me,
Yes.
yes, I would love it.
Yes.
Yes.
So the way that this could work is creating a mini commission, mini coalition just for the grant. We don't have a lot of time, and that grant this year is very specific. So we have to make a decision and start and following up on this action. So maybe after this, out of this group, a few of you that are interested in working, maybe Ari or whoever, it's Anordia, maybe Natalie, whoever one, we can do an email change and work on the actions. Okay, so it might be that we cannot wait until the next meeting to talk about this, so we can inform you and keep you informed about everything. We can start sending you a copy of the grant so you guys can see all the specifics, all the actions and ideas, and then move forward.
This is Helen. If you need a contact at the library, I can provide that, or an entree there if the decision is made that the library would be the correct vehicle to host that.
Perfect. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I'd be interested in participating with somebody at the library for an event or educational event in May. I know that's late, but just because of Mental Health Month and prevention activities.
Yeah, we can tie all of this with the month. It's not a problem. It's just that because it's May, we cannot let it to the end of that month. Yeah, and the only concern about the library platform is that it's kind of an optional for when people are going to participate. So when you use the schools, you have the audience, and we are paying for a group, for that specific population. But anyhow, thank you so much. We will continue this conversation by email.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Next is we move into new business. Was there any other discussion about the LPC grant? I'm sorry. No? Okay. New business. Vacancies in the Prevention Council and new members.
This is Helen Rubino Turco. I think we've pretty much covered all of that. We do have one vacancy, and that is the position that was had been held by another guidance counselor. It is for a school counselor, and we hope that Tor, maybe you can speak with the administration about, or Melissa, we're looking for someone from that can serve that position, and it could also be from a private school. It doesn't have to be from our public school. Thank you.
Okay. Next is the approval of our meeting dates and times for this year, and the first one of 2022. I don't know as though we actually have to officially vote on these. I guess we officially do, is what I suppose. All right, we'll do that then. Can someone make sure that December 9th is not in Hanukkah? Do we know that for sure?
I'll check for you.
Okay, thank you. If that's not, and I know we rescheduled from November 11th to the 18th because that must be Veterans Day. Do I have a motion to approve all these dates? I'll make that motion. And let's see if we have approval from Nordia.
Yes, once we clarify if Hanukkah's an issue.
Okay, pending Hanukkah.
This is Helen.
Yes.
Hanukkah in 2021. Hanukkah begins November 28th and ends December 6th.
Oh, wow.
I approve, Carl.
Oh.
We're all set.
Okay, great. Okay. Jonathan?
Okay.
Oh, you're so soft voiced, Jonathan. Brenda?
Yes.
Yay. Howard?
Yes.
Adzo?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
And Patty?
Yes.
Okay, unanimous. So moved. Next item. Approval of new meeting format 2021. This came about as some of our discussions about the Community Wellness Coalition and kind of the purpose of our meetings and some of the possibility of changing the way we do the meetings here, which have become somewhat pro forma. We're going to go through the rest of the reports today, but we thought we might change the meeting and have more of a general discussion amongst folks about what we need to do as a council and where we need to be heading, which if you look at the actual content of what has been written for the council is more generally aligned with that. And I think specific with what has changed in the council to now include mental health, which is a much broader category, we have a much greater area to include and to discuss. It's things that really haven't been talked about or considered prior to this. It was specific to substance abuse prior to less than a year ago. And also, this pandemic has shifted so much in our world. It's made people sit back on their heels and look at things differently, I think.
I agree with you. This is Astrid Calderon, Manager of Social Services. I agree with you, Carls. Some of the agenda looks like, this is a report from the town and it should be, vice versa. It should be from the community so we can talk about, so we can feed ourselves from the town to what is going on outside so we can incorporate and exchange ideas. So this, have been, good because I understand that you as resident as well wanted to know what we're doing. We wanted to be accountable as well, but I feel that it need to be more balanced so we have a space for more people in the agenda to propose other ideas, etc. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Okay, what do other board members think? Has the way the meeting's been run fit your needs as a prevention council in terms of what West Hartford needs in terms of prevention, do you think? Or would a more open discussion fit that need better?
I think once we get the assessment back, this is Nordia, I think that will help guide as well. I think we would need a survey from the community because maybe what we're discussing is not what the community wants, but it could be. I mean, we're looking out for areas of concern regardless that affect everyone, so we're not off track. But if there's a particular community need, we may need to survey a little bit more or get that feedback from the assessment so that we're in line with the majority. And I do think having a focus on mental health and wellness, maybe the month of May, we could cater our discussions more towards that. What can we do to support community that month? Maybe look at if some of the businesses, particularly we have a lot of fitness clubs. I'm not sure how hard they got hit by the pandemic, but if there's any way that they can volunteer and give some free sessions or promote their business so that community members of all, older ages and not mainly kids can get some support and wellness. Maybe I know the yoga, West Hartford Yoga does a lot in the community. They had a lot of good programming this summer. So maybe just promoting some of that small business and linking it to adults can also get some support that doesn't cost or require insurance, and just some reminders of how to take care of ourselves. We could focus on that until we get more of the assessment back.
I think that's probably why I was so intent on a wellness assessment. And what do we have? How do we know what we need if we don't really have a kind of a picture of what exists in the town, and kind of an asset map? What are the assets that reside throughout our town? Then we could see where the gaps are. And, you know, if we know what we want for our town, and we see where the assets are, we might be able to see, oh, there's a hole there, and we need this for this group. So maybe the assessment will give us the right questions to ask. That's kind of part of what I'm hoping. But I think my hope is that if we change the format a little bit as we move towards getting the assessment information, we'll have a format for getting those questions and knowing where to go to get some of the answers. That makes sense?
So maybe the agenda can have like general topics as a way of reporting, like very broad mental health issues, substance abuse. We can talk about a topic related to the youth, to the seniors, and to adults, and then stuff like that, you know, so we can start building and mimicking the assessment.
I think that would be great. And if we have a topic, like what occurs to me when Patricia talked about suicidality, if we could, even if that topic is discussed, let's talk about it across the spectrum. And then in terms of resources that we know about in town, and then where are the gaps? Then we have really an assessment in part, or at least a starting point. Okay. I guess I'm off my bandwagon now. Okay. Number D is recommendations to town council. Apparently, we have to come up with recommendations to the town council about our work in the last year, which I vaguely recall last year's. They were quite comprehensive, and they were related to really changing the whole makeup and how the council operated to include mental health. That was a big part of it, and that happened. And also the how the when terms ended, so they didn't all end at the same
Right.
time.
This is Helen Rubino Turco. We cleaned up the membership. We definitely overhauled in the previous year the addition of mental health into the whole scope. But I think this year, as we've done in years past, paid very close attention to supporting substance abuse, the Prevention Week programs. We had a lot of really great ideas that we tried to roll out, but because of COVID, they were aborted. And the previous year, we had different partnerships done with different groups that were willing to take ownership of different sections of the week-long programs that we had for Prevention Week that Astrid worked so hard on.
Yeah.
I think in general, our recommendation to the town council now is following up on this wellness assessment, as well as programs to prevent vaping. and just in general I think a third recommendation would be to support, again, the prevention week programs. I think Carl, you had just mentioned you're interested in doing some programs for Mental Health Month. Perhaps it's some, again, by having a proclamation done from time to time, it does remind the community that these are issues that go, that aren't just during that month or during that week, but go on all year. And so it's helpful, not necessarily to have a proclamation every year for Prevention Week, for example, but maybe, this year we do one for Mental Health Month or for suicide prevention or something else. I don't know if there's an anti-vaping day, but if there was, maybe we could do something on that day. So I think those three things continue to be important. Doing the wellness assessment that will help identify the services that we already have and the gaps in services that we want to try and address in the future. Supporting the activities that are around Prevention Week, and that includes the drop box that we have, all year in the police department. It includes drug take-back days that the health department does, as well as the wellness programs or mental health programs that might be done, and vaping programs that might be done.
Okay.
Hi, this is Noria. I was wondering how it would work, given that it's a charge of the school system district, but it goes in line with some of what we're doing, the whole social emotional learning piece and anti-racing piece curriculum that they're doing.
Yeah.
So far, it's, this is the first year. I know they recently received some of the middle school feedback and are tallying that up, and it's not fully public yet, but they're getting some positive, good responses. And given what's going on in the nation, as well as if, virtual learning is still part of our existence next school year, and even not just the whole piece of making sure kids are whole and are educated on differences. I was wondering if there's a way we could support that too. I know the Board of Ed is supporting it, but that the town continue to support that as well. And kind of maybe once in a while check in and see what those assessments are that are public, maybe have a presentation so that we can continue to support it. Because I think the work that's being done is moving in a good direction.
Yeah.
And it does go in line with a lot of this mental health and prevention. I could just speak to the middle school curriculum. It covers pretty much what we're all talking about all the time. And it's only going to grow. They're already looking at how they're going to tweak it for next year, because right now everyone's getting the same lessons, but students will be returning. So how do those students get a different piece of it? So I just didn't know if we could add that in there as a way to kind of be aligned with what our school district partner, maybe if we call it that, is doing right now.
This is Helen Rubino Turco. Absolutely, I agree that that is a part of the wellness assessment that we want to include. And so perhaps when we are describing the wellness assessment to the town council in our report, it would include some subsets. For example, food insecurity, for example, this program to support that the Board of Education is already supporting in our schools for that very topic. So I think certainly there might be other things that are underneath that part of the wellness program that should be called out as and supported. Thank you, Nordia, for reminding us. Thank you.
I wanted to propose something, Carl. Jackie and I can put together a list of previous recommendations given to the town previous years.
Great.
And so you guys can see it, what is that have been proposed in the past.
Okay.
And then we can start putting together a list of new recommendations. I wanted to make sure that we are not putting together, we're separating recommendations to the town from our goals in things that we would like to do. Okay, which is different. So we can start that as a list, and then and then go from there. Maybe the next meeting we can go over and see them.
Yeah, the recommendations are supposed to be to the town council by the end of the month. I don't know how much of a hard deadline that is, but that's what, how it's written. So that's kind of a fast turnaround time.
This is Astrid. Given the fact that we were not able to meet once, maybe we can propose submitting recommendations at the end of this fiscal year, maybe May, when we complete this ideas and all the work that we have to do. If there's any other recommendations, we can send it to them, and then we go from there.
It's fortunately, this is Helen. It's not so formal. I don't think they're going to be on the edge of their seats looking for it at the end of January. But I do think that if we're able to come up with a brief report, we can discuss it offline. I think generally everyone has sort of nodded, yes, these are the things that we want included in the report. We can review it at our February meeting and submit it. I don't think it's something that needs to be, we don't have to stress out on it. I think it's...
that works for me.
Yeah,
okay.
So thank you.
I was just wondering, I don't know if this has been done in the past, but I was just thinking when we were talking about the vaping and screening, being the prevention council, like, have we ever engaged or proposed or planned like depression screening day, suicide awareness day, like a town-wide? I don't know how to implement that, but I'm just thinking, like, if we're looking at prevention, like the first step in prevention is identification in a sense. So I didn't know if that would be something that we could look at for this year. I know like suicide awareness day is like September 10th and depression awareness day is like October 7th. So it's far enough off in the future. But I'm just wondering.
Yes, this group has, this is Helen, this group has supported things like QPR training. Carl, in fact, is an expert in that area. So this is definitely something that we, we can fold into activities that we would like to fund or support, because it may be that it doesn't cost us anything, but because we have people that already know how to do it. But yes, we definitely want to include that type of, that's what we're here for.
I just think COVID has, exacerbated so many of those issues, and people are isolated. And even if we did like a virtual screening with like breakout rooms or such, I just think there's a lot going on in our town with mental health that people aren't, we don't see them as often. What we were talking about, like, you're not identifying kids in the schools because they're not there as much. And I just wonder, town-wide, how much is going on behind closed doors that we could have some sort of positive impact.
Yeah. Yeah, the rate of depression and suicide is really frightening, this whole epidemic.
Do we have access to Zoom if we did a community? Because that's been the limitation with some of the parent groups, is like the school uses Google Meet, so it's hard to do breakout sessions. So a lot of parents have done stuff on their own. There's different programs popping up through Zoom. So I don't know if we could use Zoom if we partner with someone else.
This Cisco WebEx has breakout rooms as well, has breakout sessions.
Okay,
we do have access to that, and that is something I can learn how to do because I've never actually done it, but I can definitely help you with that.
Oh, great. Okay. That's good to know.
And do we have a budget for a presenter? Because I like what Ari's saying, that
We don't have a budget for a presenter, but it's something that we can look at in the future. I think, we can certainly look at these things over the next few months, but we don't have a budget for that. But that's not to say that we can't find funding or sponsorship for something like that.
Yeah, we can look at that, definitely.
I just want to be cognizant of the time at 6 o'clock, and I know we want to go quickly through our probably some reports.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any report from Social Services Director?
Not from me. Astrid may have a few things to say.
So this particular month, we have been working with multiple activities related to COVID and basic needs for the community. From the year to now, we continue to do that. We feel that we are stable, except for the fact that we don't have any way to help the community that might be evicted from their houses. Which, because the February the 9th is the end of the moratorium, and we're running into walls because the money have been difficult to get. That's basically where we are, and the state of Connecticut, have been also, the funding is limited. So that's one of the things that we're working on. The rest of the stuff is more into planning. We are supporting multiple other efforts with the Department of Health. So this week, as you know, the COVID-19 will be offered to 75 years and all. So we are about to make public all of the possible options that people in West Hartford can have if you are at that age. So the Department of Health and us are putting together a list and a flyer. So we will make sure that it's public. The lines for the health districts and the state health department are open to make appointments, and we wanted to make sure that they know how to make appointments for the vaccine, 75 and older. So we're supporting that efforts. There's a lot of other projects that we're doing, but again, I'm very interested in knowing what's also going on in other areas of the community as well. Thank you.
Okay. West Hartford Bloomfield Health Department, or does that cover that also, Astrid?
Well, I have been in touch with them all week because of that. So they are overwhelmed, to say the least. They have been working and supporting all of the other departments, the fire department, all of the frontline workers. They started to, do the vaccination to all of them, including the schools. So, and they are also keeping the information alive, like this one that came out today from the state of Connecticut Department of Health. And there's a line available for seniors, and telephone and email. So we are working together so the seniors that do not have email or access to computer can do their own appointments. So I cannot speak for them, but I know that they are very, very busy.
West Hartford Public Schools Board of Ed report.
Hey everybody, Tor Fisk, assistant principal at Conard. A lot of what's happening here has been discussed throughout the meeting, but we're getting close to the end of the first semester. Incredibly proud of staff, students, families with their flexibility, just kind of rolling with the uncertainty of the school year and a new learning platform, and being able to adjust on the fly to uncharted territories. The SEL and anti-racism work has been mentioned here. Just want to give another shout out to Rosina Haskins and Scott Ratchford and everybody else that's been involved in putting that together. I think that's been an incredible addition to the programming, and very pertinent to the times that we're living in, for sure. An element of COVID fatigue, for sure, creeping in for everybody. And I think, as Ari said before, concerns with how we kind of pinpoint people who are struggling when we don't see them every day, and then how do we best coordinate a response in a timely fashion to be supportive. So that's a concern going forward, but appreciate all the community resources that we have here. I see Chris and John on the screen. Always thankful to those guys and what they do to support us. And if I've left out anything, Melissa Hickey, if you want to add anything, you can.
Thanks, Rick. I would say the only thing to add is when the SEL anti-racism agenda in our communities every week for the students was mentioned. I just want you to know that that's on a cultural competence continuum. So that's something that will be continuing. It's not going to be repeated for students. I know that staff worked together with family partnerships over the summer and created these lessons as kind of the impetus to get it rolling. And it's going to be new lessons next year, so the students won't be engaging in the same thing. So that was mentioned. I just wanted to clarify.
Okay.
If I could add one more thing, it's Torfisk again and Connor. We've got a great emerging student group over here, the Heron Project Club, with an inclusion and prevention focus. Our very own Natalie Dela Cruz is in this meeting, is an integral part and primary leader of that group. And they're putting together some nice stuff right now with a focus on mental health among students. And Natalie, feel free to chime in. You know more of the detail about what that is, but kind of the premise of that is students talking to students and acknowledging the difficulty of this time and maybe sharing some strategies that are working for them that hopefully are more impactful because they're students talking to students.
Yeah, for sure. We're coming out with videos soon, and we're also working to attempt to create a community lesson also. I'm also working with the Heron Project organization in general to formulate more club activities for different clubs nationwide, so that will be expanded. But the Heron Project Club is a really awesome group at Conard that focuses on a lot of similar things as this council, and I really hope that this year and post-COVID we get to do a lot more activities.
It sounds exciting, Natalie.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Chris, you want to tell us about the Youth Service Bureau?
Sure. So just a quick PSA to sort of piggyback a little bit on what Tor said, I think, but just speaking as someone whose team is providing a lot of services to teens and youth in town, they're not okay. This is really hard on, I'm sure it's hard on everyone in this virtual room in different ways, but just the level of and depth of the work that my folks need to do with the kids this year is so much more intensive than it was last year. And it's the same types of referrals we're getting, but the work gets really intense really quickly. We're doing a lot of safety assessing. We're doing a lot of, providing families with support. It's just, I think that's relevant to this group's mission, right? Is just there's a lot of stuff going on, and I hear it, and not even just my staff, but I sit in on the clinical team meeting as well, and across the board, the community is struggling, and anyone who's paying attention knows that and knows why. There's so many different things going on, but that's my little sort of soapbox speech. Everybody's having a hard time. From a YSB perspective, the teen center is up and running. We were granted the ability to sort of be back in person at Elmwood Community Center with limited numbers, and we're full every single session. We've got to turn people away, in fact, because the kids want to be able to gather. They want to be able to hang out and spend time together and play. And it's really heartwarming to see them. We shut down over the holiday, and the first day everybody was right back. And it was great. Our mentoring program is basically full as well, which is also great. But again, the depth of work there is even, it's deeper than ever before. We've still got our SMART group, which is substance abuse prevention and treatment group, happening Thursdays at 3:30. That is hybrid. We have the ability to do it online as well as in person at our Shield Street clinic in Elmwood. And we've got a The clinic is in the sort of the recruiting and just starting phase of a body acceptance group, and I've got the flyer up so that I can tell you about it. And it's for girls ages 13 to 17 that would benefit from learning about positive body image and ways to cope with negative thoughts and feelings about their bodies. That's a virtual group, and it is meeting Wednesdays at 6 p.m. And I don't see a start date on this flyer. As of the meeting this morning, I think it just began, but I believe we're still open for people to join. And if that's something that somebody you know is interested in, you can have them contact me, and I can get them connected, or they can reach out to the clinic directly as well. And that. Oh, you know what? One last thing I wanted to say is John's team leadership group at the teen center is doing sort of neighborhood-based food drives throughout the month of January. And so that is, I think, a great initiative that the teens have been really creative. We usually do a food drive over at the Elmwood Stop and Shop, and due to COVID, they're kind of not allowing that kind of solicitation right now. And so the teens put their heads together and came up with ways to sort of do things differently, and so they're all sort of canvassing their neighborhoods, and we'll have drop boxes and things, and I think it's a really great creative intervention. So it's on the list.
So I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I have is there a catchment area for the bridge in terms of like providing services for teens?
Well, so we don't really do that type of work that would fall into a catchment area. So we have a clinic here in West Hartford. We have a clinic based in Avon, and we have a clinic based in Rockville. But we can see people from anywhere. Okay. We don't turn people away because of where they live, etc. The YSB itself, I mean, we do services for West Hartford teens, through arrangements with the town and with the school district. But the actual clinics, we don't turn folks away based on where they're from. And really, because so much of our work is virtual right now, we can see people from anywhere.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Chris, you remind me that whether it's Youth Services Bureau or teachers or social services, that it's a time of enormous vicarious traumatization. And so caring for the caregiver is a big issue right now.
Yeah, that tends to be a important piece of my own professional work. I try to take good care of my staff. I don't know if I'm always successful. Hopefully I am. John, you don't have to lie. But that, yes, it is definitely a hot topic. I mean, I try to build it into my own meetings. I know Martin at the clinic builds it into his, where we spend some time just talking about what we're doing to take care of ourselves. But the reality is we're all, as a nation and as a globe, really, with the pandemic, we're all sort of living through this complex time. It's traumatizing for everybody, no matter how you fall on any of the issues.
Yeah.
It's upheaval, right? It's difficult.
Yeah. So take care of yourselves, everyone. Do we have any upcoming events or activities of interest to note?
I just wanted to remind, based on what, Chris, this is not an activity per se, but some of the teams might express that, the family is, going through something very, very dramatic, or they might not say anything about, not having food, or not having, the parents not having enough money to pay the rent, or being stressed out because of something. If you feel that there's a need, and a monetary need to try to help a family in a very specific way, such as rent, emergency rent, food, or any other stressors that might be causing, just give us a call, because we will make sure. This is what we're dealing with that right now. A lot of people that because of COVID, is not able to pay the rent. And it's causing a lot of stress to the kids as well as to the parents. So we will get the money. We will find it one way or the other, through foundations or through our own fund, the Town That Cares.
And they should just call the social services office, or yes?
Yes. Yes, anybody can call us, you know, if it will be a confidential call, you know, and you can tell the parents to call us as well, and then or you can call us, you know, either or.
Okay. Thank you. Andrea, do we have any public callers tonight?
No, we don't.
Okay. Then I would like a motion to adjourn, if there's nothing else.
This is Howard. I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, and a second? I'll second that. And all in favor, Nordia?
Sorry, yes. Yay.
Yeah. Yay. Jonathan?
Yay.
And Brenda?
Yay.
And Padzo?
Yay.
And Bob?
Yes.
And Patty?
Yay.
We're adjourned, and we'll see you on February 11th at 5 o'clock. Stay safe, take care of each other.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good